Hi, welcome back to the In-Between. Always good to see you. I'm Camille. Well, can you feel it? If you can, you know what I'm talking about. If you can't, it only means that you've yet to step on the in-between. It could also mean that you are navigating change, uncertainty, and transformation, but you have no idea what I'm talking about. And that is why, for those of us who walked the terrain of change already, and I will put the playlist in the description below so you too can walk the in between. But for those of us who did, we are walking it again. More calm, more centered, the chaos is behind us, and we come to this terrain of change with greater curiosity about what we might have missed the first time around. Because when you're going through change and when you're unaware of the in between, you're just doing your best to hang on. You're usually just hanging out in the first two areas of change: what's actually happening to you and how you feel inside yourself while it's happening. But the in between pulls back the curtain of the hidden architecture of change, uncertainty, and rebirth. And it provides us with this gorgeous universal language that doesn't take away the walk, doesn't take away the discomfort of growth, but it does offer us guidance, insight, and guides that can help us walk it. And so here we are at the last guidepost along the way, the unseen forces. And though the first time around they were just that, unseen, even to the point where you didn't even know they existed, because that was true for me the first time I walked the in-between. But now, because I've been back around it over and over again, I've come to understand the power of the in-between and the power of the unseen forces. And here's the beauty of this deep dive. Whether you're watching this video and it's the first one, or you've been hanging out with me for a while, you're still going to be able to pick up some tips and strategies, information and insight that I hope will help you as you navigate your own transformation of the self. The in-between is the space between endings and beginnings, for sure. That's where we start. But the longer we hang out with it, the more we become awake and aware to what is actually happening. That's when we start to dig into and experience the richness that the in-between is always holding for us whenever it is that we are ready to receive. And on the second time around, we are ready to receive. And just like the change cycle and the inner landscape work hand in hand, that is the axis of change, what's happening to you and how you feel inside while it's happening. Then the in-between says, but look, there are helpers, a lot of helpers that you can see, a lot of guidance you can be inspired by. And there's also guides and guidance that you can't see. And so begins this process of developing a curiosity, a relationship with the inner knower, with the one within that we cannot see, but clearly is running quite a bit of the show. And that's really where we begin the process of moving from being unconscious and a victim in change. Why is this happening to me? To a conscious participant in change. What is change asking me to consider? And that's why we go from the helpers to the invitation. Change is always inviting us to look at what's happening as well as ourselves from a different angle and a fresh perspective. And I just did a deep dive about the invitation. I want to invite you to take a look at that video and of course go back and look at each of the videos that's inside the invitation. But for right now, let's do a deep dive into the unseen forces, because this is where it gets rich. This is where your participation in your own becoming reveals to you an even greater architecture of change, uncertainty, and rebirth that maybe only now you're able to see, you're ready to see. And just like the change cycle and the inner landscape went together, so do the invitation and the unseen forces. Because when you start to live in the invitation, even if you're not going through change, maybe you're just doing life and you've got some bumps in the road or you've got some challenges, the invitations are so powerful because, as I've been saying, they move us from the front row of the theater where we are entangled in the movie and the drama and the characters, and we go to the back row and suddenly we see a much wider view of what's happening. We can see ourselves through a different lens. And when you start living there, when you start to say, you know what, I want to do my life more mindfully, I want to live with greater intention, then the field opens wide. And that's what's happened to us and to you, walking the in-between, getting on the other side of this personal experience, and then realizing, okay, let's go back. Let's go back now that I can look from a perspective that puts some distance between myself and what I was going through. Let me see what else is nestled in the in-between. And it turns out a tremendous amount of wisdom, insight, assistance, and yes, an opportunity to stretch our thinking beyond what our current program has designed for us. And that's why the in-between lives inside the new design for living, because you have to heal your relationship to change so that you can be a conscious participant in your own becoming, which ultimately leads to the new design model for yourself, your life, and anything else you want to put into the mix. So I want to give you an opportunity to go back and look at the videos that are a part of this second series, Recognizing Yourself in the In-Between, and go back to the invitation and the unseen forces videos. Maybe just grab a few, maybe just watch a little bit from a bunch of them, just so that you can orient yourself to what it is we're going to be doing, because the next video will bring us full circle. We will have walked the in-between once. We will have revisited it together a second time. And then some very, very exciting news to share with you. So thanks so much for watching. Of course, thank you for subscribing, commenting, and the likes. They all make a difference. And so do you.